Today I intend to work on an interesting topic for me. I will work on my relationship to Germany. I know that there's a lot of potential energy stored in that topic for me. I have been living in Germany for 47 years of my life, and I have never felt at home there. So I want to use the algorithm of removing limitations. It's an asset of Neurografica, and it's a very powerful tool to remove blockages on our way to our inner freedom. So that's just the right algorithm for my relationship to Germany, and I'm quite excited to explore that today. You are invited to draw with me or to follow along and experience how Neurografica works. Let's do it! In the first step, as usual, I activate my topic by writing down words in 2 minutes without thinking about them, writing down all associations without filter. If you're working on your topic, you can choose any topic you feel a blockage like contained in. I pick my topic Germany. You pick your topic, write it down on the back of your paper, and start writing down your associations in 2 minutes. yeah, I have a lot of words expressing discomfort. Unfriendly, disconnected, unhappy. Fought, defense, one step ahead or 7 back, doubting, not feeling comfortable, not being allowed to be yourself, having to be different, expectations, not being content, heavy blanket, uncomfortable, blame others, don't take responsibility for yourself, collective thought, trauma, heaviness, running away, looking away. Yeah, and now I want to get rid of this, all this stored in myself and all these connections, and I take a pen which is already a little bit broken, because otherwise it will break. And I will read my words again for myself. And I put all this uncomfortable feeling into a shape, a quick shape, which we call catharsis. And it naturally has pokey edges, and it's a quick, like a quick release. So I see my relationship to Germany now here on my paper, and now I can throw this pen away because it has done its job, and I choose a medium-sized, fresh, beautiful pen, and I will start connecting and rounding the edges in my shape of Germany. Like there are these pokey, uncomfortable shapes naturally in every like uncomfortable topic, and I will step by step harmonize them. And the first step, I am connecting these shapes and lines to each other. And if I'm looking into my body, I'm feeling into my body, I feel my heart beating quite excitedly. And I feel my breath kind of hold. Need to remind myself of breathing. So I'm focusing on all these intersections now and making them smooth. And now that I have a new beautiful marker, my new connections and imprints are immediately very visible to my brain, and hopefully to you as well. my connections and associations and imprints about Germany have grown in 47 years of my life. And now I have this beautiful tool, this algorithm of removing limitations to create a new imprint about Germany. In this way, all the negative feelings and associations get a new chance to transform and to make the energy accessible in them for today. So today I don't feel I want to stay in this state of being in opposition to Germany and having all these dark vibes connected to that in myself. That's why I'm drawing that here. Make sure that you're neurographing your lines, your straight lines. That means that you will lead your line in a natural flowing way, especially the straight lines. This will make it clear to our mind that this is a new organic system appearing here. And I'm integrating all the lines that had appeared drawing my catharsis. My heart is already a little bit calming down, although I can perceive some pressure in my head, in my forehead, and in my right part of my head, something feeling a little bit weird there and foggy. Remember breathing, connecting to your breath, to your body. Want to release what it's connected. I also feel some shaking in my arms, literally here in my hands. And this is all our memories stored in our bodies that get in motion, which is nice. It's getting in motion. It means that it's becoming accessible. It's not stuck anymore. Yeah, and here I have a very nice pokey edge, and I have another line going here. So while doing that, I'll check what comes up about Germany. Germany. My mind is blank at the moment. Busy with the transformation. I'm getting the image image of lots of people. About struggles. Struggles to find the way out of being stuck as a nation, as individuals, searching for identity, which is not bound in thought anymore, in a constructive, searching for a constructive identity, in fact. Being confused, as a nation, to how to act in this world. And not having built up a new healthy identity. And therefore looking for that by acting a lot here and there and not really knowing where to find it, how to find it. The identification with the dark past is still very present and very dark, very active in the collective subconscious. Identification with being in charge of having done horrible things and being responsible for that. So this is what I get. So now I have created a system of all my impressions, which I now connect to the field by adding field lines. No, by adding neurolines. I'm connecting my shape to the environment. And the neurolines are organically flowing to where we don't expect them to see, and they are not repeating themselves. While we create our neurolines, we follow our nature, our organic nature. And especially all these pokey edges connect now to the background. Again, I feel more fog in my head, which is a sign of resistance against change. Can I connect my impression of Germany to the world? Can I connect it to the field? Yes, I can. It is connected to the field. Anyway, and in the world, Germany is has a much better like, let's say it like that, people think much better about Germany and Germans as they do themselves. Still trying to escape from having to take responsibility. It's not my fault. It's a very common way of thinking, which is actually based on the deep conviction that it is my fault, but I have to convince myself and others of it hasn't been me. That's actually how I perceive a lot of this behavior in Germany. Trying to convince others of what we don't believe about ourselves. We feel we might have been responsible, we might be responsible for something we haven't done or we have done. We blame ourselves, but we won't admit that. We will say it was not my fault. Nowadays, for me, that is an expression of the collective trauma, which also affects not only the victims, but also the people who are responsible, have been responsible. Trauma of violence, of thinking cruelly. All this is so present in today's Germany still. For me, it feels very repelling. And let's see how it transforms with my drawing today. Maybe I can become of some use. The collective subconscious reprogramming. For me, these organic lines feel very, very, very comforting, especially in contrast to these more straight lines. You see what we do? We are dissolving the impression of our catharsis, of our uncomfortable topic, The lines are still there. It's part of us, part of our perception, part of our experience, and now it gets a new image, a new direction for our brains. It's a heavy topic for me. I feel all the weight of all this guilt. Guilt is the right word. I always felt the weight of the guilt being German. Born in 1975 and still feeling the weight of the guilt and of this collective guilt. Like, this is a new impression I realized, that this collective guilt has bothered me and its expressions. Also this inability to act according to what needs to be done, to make changes in your life if you're not happy with something, not allowing yourself to follow the path of your passion because you don't even know where your passion is. That was my personal experience, and it's also what I experienced in my surroundings. That people stick to situations in their life, which are not comfortable, which they don't want, but it's for somehow not possible to make the necessary adjustments. Kind of not being worthy of doing the right things and being in your power and in your strength, not allowing that. It's very common. And then blaming others, blaming society, blaming politicians for that, but actually not acting yourself. A very stuck nation in my perception. And it's obviously not the economics which are stuck, but it's the mental state, the flexibility, the access to happiness and to the real being, to the true self, to our purposes. This is what is stuck. So many excuses we find not to do what our heart tells us, because we cannot, we have to do this and we have to do that, and we have to be unhappy. So I actually feel that Germany should win the unhappiness report worldwide. But I don't know, nobody maybe felt the need to do that. Unhappiness report. I'm sure Germans will win. because it's coming from your own minds, from your thoughts about yourself. And we cannot be proud of our nation. It's still up until today, it's very weird if people put up German flags. There's no healthy national identity as well. And everybody's struggling with finding their own personal identity and allowing themselves to connect to their own spiritual nature. That's very uncommon. Have to be unhappy, have to be stuck, have to be someone who is responsible for our misery. So now I'm trying to create lines that are kind of the same thickness everywhere, so that even this initial shape is dissolving more. And I add lines wherever I feel they want to be. Always attempting to get my impression even more smooth. There are a lot of these triangular, pokey shapes, and they spread and connect to the field. Remember to breathe, to connect with the ground, to feel your feet, especially in this algorithm where we remove limitations. We need to do that a lot, and we need to really carefully work on all the intersections and roundings, and we don't want to leave the pokey parts pokey. Now we're process to the next step, and I want to use my markers today, my highlighters, not my markers. My markers are already used. My highlighters, and I choose any one of it which I feel attracted to at this moment. I feel attracted to the pink one, and I start coloring large shapes. I start somewhere, wherever I want, and I am connecting shapes that are next to each other to a larger connected shape, so that by that we are going one layer deeper into our subconscious and opening up for the collective subconscious energy to flow into our topic, and I hopefully access some collective subconscious which is connected to freedom, inner freedom, to allowing yourself to connect to your purpose, to your divine, and to stop identifying with this human game. Stop accepting human limitations. I think this is something in Germany we accept our human limitations too much. But now I'm adding energy of the collective knowledge, which is way beyond the German borders. We are much more than our bodies and our minds. And I need more energy of this kind, and I will use some orange. If you use the markers, you'll get fast and strong imprints. So this is, what does it tell me, this color? It tells me ability to act. Act beyond making money. Access your resources. Access the divine. This is what that orange stands for me. Accessing the divine being beyond being humans. Accessing spirituality, basically. We have also misused religion for so much time to suppress people instead of to connect people to the divine, to their sources, to our sources. Yes, that feels great. I have the impression that energy starts moving in myself, and I'm going for all these very bright colors here. I want some green now. So remember to create large shapes and to connect the cells to each other. This is bringing a very new and deep level of energy to our requests. However uncomfortable they might have been, now they transform on a deeper level. We have harmonized it, we have dissolved it with our lines, and now we add energy. I need yellow now. From somewhere above. Yellow. And I feel the need of adding exactly these colors. You choose your colors. So your energy, and you check what it does with your perception of your topic. So now I feel there's a lot of potential in Germany, a lot of energy, moving energy that can be accessed and released. Stop doubting, stop identifying with guilt. Oh, I need to write that somewhere. Stop identify with guilt. Of any kind. Guilt for being alive, even. Guilt for having own needs. guilt for being German. So if we get rid of that guilt energy, I can perceive it here that there's a lot of action possible, positive action. So the screen can expand a little bit more here, maybe. Use your potential. Let's use our potentials. So we never leave single cells. We never leave single cells like there, so that's why I decide to have that yellow. And I want that white to invite the yet unknown into my topic. Now I feel there's a lot of energy moving in my body. There's a lot of heat. There's a lot of tingling, positive tingling in my hands and my feet. I feel warmth everywhere. And this is a good sign. So it's released from deep in me. And in fact, I will stand up for a while now and like move my body and be back in a second. I invite you to do the same. So I also recommend drinking a lot of water. To assist your bodies. For me, it feels exciting and also unusual, a new experience to access energy contained in my associations, imprints to Germany. Ooh, yeah, now I want a very visible marker. And I want to draw a round or roundish shape to become the container for my new imprint on my topic. And I use lines that are already there. And I also create new ones. I think I'll start here. I see some round here. And I go over here. And I want to include up there the lines that are here. And I create a big circle. It can also be a oval, but a roundish shape. And I'll go over my fixing shape and connect to its energy. I feel a constructive energy here. I feel hope. I feel joy and excitement. So our shape, which we call the fixing shape here, will need to be connected beautifully to the lines of our drawing, to our system. That's what I'm working on here now. Ask my body, what is my body showing me at the moment? Holding breath, feeling a little bit confused. My mind feels confused. Harmonious shape containing my new impressions and the becoming aware of the potential of Germany by getting rid of our guilt identity. Accessing our qualities and like why we came here for. To transform the collective trauma as well. Access the light of so many people struggling and defending themselves all the time. Being stuck doing that. Leave a comment if you happen to be German. Can you relate to that? What is your experience? If you're not German, how do you perceive Germans? How do you perceive your own country, your own struggles? I'd be happy to read that and interact with you in the comments. Can you relate to that guilt topic? Do you feel guilty about being alive, about having desires, about having dreams, about not fitting into society's requests? Be brave and start a discussion in the comments if you feel like that. We are born in the country where we are born for a reason. To learn something, to give something that country needs, maybe. People need in that country, need to hear. To heal wounds, open wounds, generational trauma, national trauma, world trauma, to learn to think and act free. Finally being able to live what we came here for. Once we have healed enough. All these thoughts come up while I'm working on the integration of my fixing shape. It looks powerful and unfamiliar to me. And I feel that I'm on my way to more peace with being born in Germany, with all the perceptions of this unfreedom around me, and obviously in myself. I have acted very, very unfree for many decades. And it's about starting to live your own truths wherever we are in the world. Allowing us to live our own, our own true size, our own power. So, amazing. I want to make my fixing shape more beautiful, and I want to add some red. I use some pencils and I want to make this shape even more active by adding some shade inside its boundaries. I want to beautify this shape. Breathe deeply and integrate your new impressions. It's surprisingly easy for me today to do that. And I want to do as much as I can to harmonize and beautify this collective impression of living our truth, our purpose, and this transformation from guilt to our own spirituality, to connect to our divine being, to our source, to what we actually are, to the realization that we are only using this body, we are only using our minds to be able to act in this material world, but we are much more. We are divine beings. We are unseparate part of universal love and wisdom. All of us, and all the Germans as well, whether they are aware of it or not. And all people on earth have the same purpose, to realize that and to spread this news, this connection, this knowledge into the world. We are all divine beings, inseparable from universal love and wisdom, no matter how we call it, to the absolute. This is the pearl I'm creating here. Divine beings, unseparate from all the light, powerful, in charge, able to create growth in this world, transformation. Let go of the past, let go of the human past, transform the collective imprints. Start acting from the source in our heart, listening and following our intuition. We all have that. We all have that access. We all have that knowledge. Trusting it, using it, making our light shine, doing our share in this world. This is what it's all about. Stepping out of the dark, stepping into our power, our majesty, our wide being. So it needs to be even more visible. So I want to emphasize it from outside as well. So I'm using some color which I apply outside the shading of my beautiful divine being shape. Now I imagine 90 million people stepping into their power and living their light, and divine being in Germany, in the heart of Europe. What a powerful source is that? What a powerful opportunity. What if we start identifying with our divine being? All of us. Stop keeping the dark energies alive by focusing on them and by feeling guilt and by identifying with that. By doing that, we are feeding the unwanted energies. Focusing inside, focusing on our inside connection. That's what makes us powerful, moving forward. Examples for the world. We learned that focusing on materials, possessions, it's not what makes us content, because that's not what we came here for. We can do that, that's can be part of the game, but it can't be, it's not satisfying if this is the only focus. How can I do my share today to make the world a better place? That's constructive orientation. I invite all of you, and especially all my German fellows, to practice that thought. What can I do today to do my share, make the world a better place? Can I practice patience with people in my life? Maybe with my family. Can I be friendly to my neighbor? Can I start looking at the good things in my life and in the world? Where do I get my energy from? I personally never watch news, for example, and I have never missed anything by doing that, but I got the chance to focus on what I want to focus on. I don't want to focus on what people do stupid in the world right now. I know they do. I am convinced of that. But I personally get much more out of it, not focusing on that, but going outside and getting nature's energy, for example. That's what helps me to focus on the good things and also on what I can do for myself to be attentive of my own boundaries, for example, of my own pace. Being aware of the voices in my head that are being constructive. And starting to ask myself, do I want to think like that about me? Or how do I want to think about it? Many interesting thoughts come up, as you can hear. This is now, I'm working on the style step. I'm beautifying it more. Cannot stop doing that. So I just do it before I invite the field lines into my drawings as well in a minute. While I'm talking, I can hear my transformation already. You can also hear it, I suppose. And I also feel very, very, very active and warm, lots of warmth in my body. So lots of energy released here. I draw until I feel satisfied and content with my shape. And now I want to add field lines that invite the divine, universal love and wisdom, the absolute, however you want to call it, into my topic. And it is the field lines run from one end to the of my drawing through my whole drawing to the other side. I go over them multiple times to make them visible and also to feel them. This is one of my field lines. You can also go in a different second direction. Giving up all the control and letting wisdom of universal love flow through our lives, to our topics, inviting trust, guidance, assistance, support, whatever we need in our lives will come to us and is there at any moment. And what is not there at this moment is not needed, and what is there in the moment is needed. Trusting in that. Now we are working on integrating the lines. Yes, like that. I like that, and I want a second line flow right into the middle of my drawing. And now I want a bigger marker to see it more. And the field lines will get like the same width at all there, at all places. Where is it now? Going up here. Making it visible first. Trust, assistance, divine love, working on the connections. Becoming a channel ourselves, listening to our intuitions, which comes straight from our guidance, straight from connection to everything that is, and trusting in that and following it as well. And our intuition will not tell us to stay in a miserable situation. It will tell us to do something about it, to adjust it, do the necessary changes. And not only complain about some miserable situation. Yes, beautiful. Look at that. Please share your drawings. I will also share that drawing in my Facebook group, Draw Yourself Free, using Neurografica as a tool. I'm looking forward to see your drawings there as well. And now I'm curious about what reached my consciousness after having created this new impression. And I'll take the back of my drawing and write down topic 2.0 and now I'll write down words in 2 minutes again after drawing. Invite you to do the same. Ha! My words. I have many times the word light, energy, potential, power, knowledge, love, flow, joy, perseverance, uniqueness, individual power, forms collective power, access spirituality, together, freedom, hope, connection, joy, yes. Yes. The algorithm of removing limitations. A beautiful tool I feel so wide and connected to the collective energy of Germany now. I realized that I focused or refocused now from the shadow sides I always perceived, like the darkness and the guilt and the being stuck condition. And now I feel it's like transforming my focus on all the potential, on the knowledge and on the energies that are there, like almost like a volcano where all these energies are building up. And what I perceive now after that drawing is that if this volcano is erupting all its potential into the world, then we'll have a completely new version of Germany. And one by one, individually, by working on our focus to the light, by redefining our identity towards what we really are, our spiritual being, our source inside, we will eventually get this energy erupted into the world. That's what I learned today. Thank you for watching. Thank you also for subscribing to my channel. People are subscribing, and I hope that you're drawing as well and have your own transformative experiences. That's why I'm doing that channel, to give you that opportunity. Draw yourself free and use your energies. See you soon.